So along with the switch case, I have discussed conditional operator. So I will be discussing about this in detail one by one. What exactly loop is all about. So flowchart of entry control and exit control loops. You have to open the flare bracket, then you have to write whatever you wanted to print. So it will check the condition. Is it less than or equal to 4? Yes. Hello everyone, I welcome all of you to the 5th session on control structures. So why are you dragging these sessions so long? Yes, this chapter is going to be very important for all of you. So I need to explain this in detail. I need to spend a lot of time on this. That is a reason that you have more number of sessions in this chapter, my dear students. So without wasting much of your time, let me start the session for all of you. So what is that I have? So before I get into the session, let me give you a small recap. What is that we have discussed in the previous session? So what is that I have in the recap? Let's see that. All right. So we have discussed the types of if statements. So we have discussed the types of if statements. So please make a note of this, have a revision of all these topics. So types of if statements is what we have discussed till now. All right, in that, what is that we have discussed? So the first type, how many types we have? We have 4 types. The first type that we have is if statements. What is that we have? If statements. All right, so we also call this as simple if. We also call this as simple if. So please make a note of it. How do we write the syntax for this? I have discussed that many number of times. Let me not do that again. So the second one that we have is if else. What is that we have? If else. So that is the second type of if statement. And the third one that we have is nested if. Okay, the third one that is nested if else. And the fourth one that is ladder if. Okay, ladder if. This is the different types of if statements that we have studied in my previous sessions with all of you. I want all of you to check how exactly this if statement is working. All right, so I will also discuss that. I will also interact with all of you in my Q&A session so that we will have more clarity on this topics, my dear students. So fine, this is what the different if statements that we have. And also I have something called switch case. What is that we have discussed? We have discussed something called switch case. So please make a note of it. So switch case. So what is that we have discussed? Switch case. Along with the switch case, I have also discussed compound statement. Is it compound statement? What is that we have discussed? Come on, everybody. What is that I have discussed? So along with the switch case, I have discussed conditional operator. What is that I have discussed? Conditional operator. So this is what you have to remember. A quick recap of what we have discussed in my previous session. So fine, what is that I have in this session? So what is that we are going to discuss? So let's start that. So my dear students, in this session, I will teach you different concepts or different types of loops that we have. Basically, we have the first one that is while loop. And if you learn while loop, so you have the free, one more concept that is free. So we call it as a do statements, or we also call that as a do while loop. Okay, so I will be discussing about that. Along with that, we have something called for loop. We have something called for loop. So basically, we have 3 different types of loops. How many types of loops we have? 3 different types of loops. Number 1, please make a note of it. So the number 1 is while loop. The number 2 is do while, and the last one that I have is for loop. 3 different loops I have. So I will be discussing about this in detail one by one, okay, with all of you. So that is one thing. Along with that, I will also discuss some of the things with respect to jumps in this loop, okay, jump statements, and also I have something called labeled loops. Let's discuss this in this session, what exactly it's all about. So yes, I think all of you should have a notepad right now. So it's time for me to start the session. What exactly loop is all about? 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 So, how many times you are saying the same statement? This is what I will call it as a loop. My dear students, I am repeating the same statement. Okay, I am repeating the same statements. Please observe. Okay, if you are executing set of statements again and again until you satisfy some condition, so that is what I will call it as a loop. If you play the song again and again, same song, okay, what do you call that? You are playing the song in a loop, right? Same thing. Okay, I will repeat. If you are executing set of statements, if you are executing set of statements again and again until you satisfy some condition, in the sense, print the set of statements 5 times. 5 times is a condition that I have given. So until that statements is printed for 5 times, I will be keep doing the same thing. That is what I will call it as a loops. That is what I will call it as a loops, is what you need to understand. All right. So I have the flow chart for the loops. Let's understand this. So flow chart for what? So flow chart of entry control and exit control loops. What exactly entry control and exit control loop? So I think it will be too early if I discuss this now. So let me not discuss this. So let me discuss this first and then I will come back to the flow chart. So let me discuss what exactly while statement is all about, or while loop is all about. Please make a note of it. This is the general syntax for the while loop. This is the general syntax for the while loop. How do I write this while loop? What is the use of this while loop? So please understand this. I have to use a keyword called while. What is that I have to use? Whenever I want to write the while loop, the first keyword that I have to use is while. That's what you need to remember. So fine. After that, you have to give the condition here. You have to mention the condition here between the parentheses. Then after that, you have to open the flare bracket. Then you have to write whatever you wanted to print or whatever you wanted to do, okay, repeatedly until you satisfy this condition, okay. So that particular code or that particular set of statements you will mention between this open and close flare bracket. Between this open and close flare bracket, this is what you need to observe here. This is what you need to observe here. This is the general syntax. This is the general syntax of while loop, right? Let's understand this with an example now. All right. How do I use this one? Where do I use this one? Okay, let's understand this. Let me write a simple code for all of you. So I have A is equal to 0 while A is less than or equal to 9. Okay. While A is less than or equal to 9. So please understand the condition. Okay. So I will print F. Okay. Hi. Here A is equal to A plus plus. All right. So I can also write like this, or I can just write okay, I can just write A plus plus. That is also fine for me. You need to observe this code. I'll give you 30 seconds for all of you. So please observe this code. Let me change the pen color so that it'll be very easy for me to explain the different parts of while loop. So this is what I have written. So please observe the code what I have written and please observe the general syntax what I have. So did I use the same syntax whatever I have here? So please observe I have the keyword called while. So here I have used the keyword called while and I have the loop condition here. So do I have something here? Yes, I have something there. Okay, don't worry what is that I've given there. So that is what I will call it as a loop condition. Fine, I have given that. So what is that I have here? Loop body. So fine, do I have that? So this is what I will call it as a loop body. Yes, I have this. So is it having the proper syntax? Yes, it is having. What exactly it is doing, how exactly it is working is what I'm going to explain with all of you now. So please observe. I have initialized the value for A is 0. So this is a initialization. This is also a part of this while loop. What is this? This is what I will call it as a initialization part 1. Okay, how many parts we have for the while loop? I will explain that. So this is the part 1. Okay, this is part 2. Writing the keyword for the while loop is a part 2. Part 3 is a condition. Part 3 is a condition. So what is the condition that I have? A should be less than or equal to 9. So it will check, is it true? Yes, of course it is less than or equal to 9. It is less than 9. The condition is true. So if this condition is true, then it will come inside. It will come inside. It will execute all the statements, whatever I have. So fine, first time it has come inside. So what is the statement that I have? So I have hi. So imagine this is the output screen. Okay, this is the output screen. So first I have printf hi. So hi will be printed now. All right. So first this statement is executed. Then after that a plus plus. I have told you in my previous class a plus plus in the sense it is an increment a plus 1. That is the meaning. So right now my a value is 0. So I will increment it by 1. So what will be the a value right now? A value will become 1. A value will become 1 now. So fine. A value is 1. It is updated now. Again, it will check the condition. Since it is a loop, again, it will check the condition one more time. So what is the a value now? So a value is 1. 1 is less than 9. Is it true? Yes, it is true. Again, it will come inside. So what is the statement? It will print hi. So again, hi will be printed. Again, a will be incremented. So what is the a value right now? A value is 1 right now. So again, plus 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. Again, it will go back and check the condition. 2 is less than 9. Yes, it is less than 9. It is true. The condition is true. Again, it will execute inside. So it will keep on executing until it fails. When it will fails, when a becomes 10, so it will come out of the loop. It will start executing the statements, whatever I have here. Until then, so it will keep on checking. It will keep on executing the same thing. So this is how the while loop is working. This is how the while loop is working. Please, you need to understand. So you understood about the third part. The fourth part, whatever I have is, so this is what I will call it as a loop body. This is what I will call it as a loop body. And please understand, so this is separate. Okay, so this is the fourth part and this is the fifth part that you need to consider. This is the updation. Okay, you are updating the value. That is by increment. That is by increment, or you can also use decrement. Depends on your logic. So how many parts you will have. So you need to be very careful in understanding. So spend little time here. Watch this part of video again and again. Okay, so until you understand this concept. So this is very, very important. I made it very simple. This is what you need to remember when you come to the while loop. Why do I need to use while loop? If I want to print hi 5 times, I will be using while loop. That's it. All right. So that's what you need to remember. So fine, you understood the while loop concept. Moving on to the next topic. If you want to have some more clarity, come to my Q&A session. I will be helping you. I will be explaining this in detail with an example. All right. What is that I have? The next one is do while. So it's quite easy. If you know that, if you know while loop, do while is very simple, pretty simple. All right, how exactly it is working? So you have the keyword do. You have the keyword do. What is that you have? So you have do. All right. So what is that you had there? So you had while. Then after that you had condition, but you don't have that here. All right. That's what you need to remember. So fine. You have the open flower bracket. So fine. You have loop body. And then after that you have close flower bracket. After that you have keyword called while and loop condition. That is a specialty that you need to remember. All right, let me just write an example for you. Look here. So what is that I have? So I have the keyword do. All right, I have to use open flower bracket. All right, so I have some condition print f hi. Let me just give hi. Then I have a plus plus. Let me just give this. And then I have while. Okay, A less than or equal to 9. Let me give the same thing. Okay, I have to use semicolon here. Okay, semicolon is there. So please observe, I'll give you some time. What is that I have written? Let me change the pen color now. What is that I have given? So here I have A is equal to 0. Let me initialize that. So A is equal to 0. This is the first thing. This is what I'm doing. I'm initializing. So fine. I have do keyword. So do I have anything to check here condition? No. So I can go inside easily without checking anything. Make a note of this. This is very important. I'm not checking any condition. Without checking any condition, I'm going inside the loop. So I don't have to check anything. Even there is no gate at all. There is no gate at all. So there is no security guard at all. Anybody can come inside. So that is the meaning. All right. So you need to understand this. Nobody, there is no condition for me. So I can execute these two statements without checking any conditions. So fine, I will execute this. My output is what? My output is high now. My output is high now. Then after that, A value is getting incremented. So what is the A value right now? After this statement, A value will become 1. So let me just update it. A value is 1 now after the statement. Then after that, so it is checking the condition. What is the condition? A should be less than or equal to 9. Is it true? Yes, it is true. If that is the case, again this statement will be executed. Otherwise, if this condition fails here, so it will not execute this again. Imagine my A value is 11. Okay. So imagine this. This is the case 1. You're done. Let's go to the case 2. Let's take this second example. A value is 11. So I have do. So do I have any conditions to check? No, I don't have. Directly I can get inside. So what is that I have? Print high. So high will be printed once. So fine. I'm printing high now. Alright. Then after that I'm incrementing A value. So right now A value is 11. After the increment A value will become 12. It will check the condition. So A is less than or equal to 9. So A value is 12. 12 is less than or equal to 9. Is it true? No, it is not true. So it will not go back at all. So it will start executing the statements, whatever I have here. So it will start executing. It will come out of the loop. It will come out of the loop. So what is that you need to understand here? Even though the condition fails, one time, this statements, whatever I have, so this will be executed. So that is what you need to understand here. So where do I have the condition here? So I have the condition when I'm exiting this loop. I have the condition when I am exiting the loop. So you need to understand this type of loop is what I will call it as a exit control loop. This is what I will call it as a exit control loop. But when it comes to here, this is what I will call it as a entry control loop, because you have the condition whenever you are entering, right? So this is entry control loop. So this is what I will call it as a exit control loop. So you understood two loops. One is exit control loop. Another one is entry control loop. So fine. What is the next one that I have? I have for statement. Okay, for loop I have. What exactly for loop is all about? For loop is also similar to while and do while, but let me explain what exactly the difference, what is the different syntax that we have with the for loop before I get into why should I use for loop and why should I use while loop. So let me tell you, or let me teach you what exactly for loop is all about. Then I will come to you why should I use for loop and when should I use for loop. All right. So let me do that first. So fine, when I come to for loop, the first thing that you have to remember is the keyword for. This for loop has got three different parts. The first part that I have is initialization. So this is the first part that I have. So this is what I will call it as the initialization. When it comes to initialization, so I can initialize more number of variables. Please remember this point, write down in somewhere. When it comes to initialization in for loop, I can initialize more than one variable during the initialization process. That is the first thing that you need to remember. The second one that I have is I have the condition. I have the condition. Any compound conditions you can mention here. whatever the conditions that we used to give, like, A is greater than or lesser than 10, whatever the conditions that you guys were giving, same thing you can give it here. The third part, so this is the second part. Then the third part is, they have mentioned only increment, but I can also have the decrement. So how many parts we have? So we have initialization, we have condition, we have increment or decrement. So we have three parts. I will repeat it one more time. When it comes to follow, so by closing your eyes, you should be able to write. The first one is for keyword. First one is for keyword. The second one that I have is initialization. What is the second one that I have? The second one that I have is initialization. So after initialization, the second part that you have is, the next part that you have is condition, and the last part that you have is increment or decrement. So in the same way, like how we had in the while loop or do while, we have the flower brackets here. I have open flower bracket. Once we have the open flower bracket, body of the loop. I have the body of the loop. That's what you need to understand here. So fine, I have the body of the loop. So I will close the for loop here. This is the general syntax that you should remember. Now, I will give you an example. I will trace how exactly this for loop is working for all of us. Let's check that. Say for example, I have for I is equal to 0. Okay, I is equal to 0. I should be less than or equal to 4, I plus plus. This is what I am going to write now. So please observe what is that I am writing. The first one that I have taken here is, what is the first one that I have taken? So what is the first part that I have? So this part, whatever I have, this part, so this is what I will call it as initialization. What exactly initialization in the sense? I have taken a variable. So for this variable, I am initializing the value. So what is the value that you are initializing? You are assigning 0. So that is what I will call it as a initialization. Here, I told you in my previous explanation, I can have more than one variable. I have I is equal to 0. I can also have j is equal to 0 along with I. I is equal to 0, comma, j is equal to 0 is what I can mention here. That is the provision that we have in the for loop. So, but as of now, in this example, I'm just taking only one variable. All right. So after that, it's very important that you need to observe I'm using colon. After each and every part, you need to observe I've given colon here. So what is the next thing that I have? So I have colon. After the colon, so what is the next one that I have? I have condition. What is the next one that I have? I have condition. Please observe here. What is the condition that I have given? I have given the condition as I should be less than or equal to 4. What is that I have? I should be less than or equal to 4 is what you need to understand. So fine, I have that. I is less than or equal to 4. Then after that, what I have? I plus plus. So fine. So I plus plus is an increment now. So let's see this, how exactly we are doing. So this is open flower bracket and closed flower bracket is what I have. I have printf. I have printf. Inside this, let me just give hi. Okay. So this is what I have now. This is what I have. All right. So if I run this, what will be my output? Let's trace this. Let's understand this code. Okay. So output. Right now I have, I'm started executing this for. So for I is equal to 0. Right now I value is 0. Please observe this. Right now I value is 0. I have written it here. So it will check the condition. Is it less than or equal to 4? Yes. I value is 0. So 0 is less than 4. It's true. This condition is true. So if this condition is true only, then it will go inside. So fine. This will be printed. So it will print hi, and then so it will increment the I value. It will increment the I value. So I value was 0. So now after executing the statement, so I value is getting incremented. Yes or no? Because I have the increment operator, right? I value is getting incremented. So what is the I value right now? So I value is 1 now because it was 0. So please understand, in my previous class, I had told you what is pre-increment and what is post-increment. So I have, what is that I have? Post-increment. Post-increment in the sense, after executing the statement, so value of I is getting incremented. So that's what you need to remember. So this will be printed. Okay, the statement is executed. I is printed now. So I value will get incremented now. I value is 1, right? As you told. So fine. Next time, again it will check the condition. It will not go for the initialization. Only one time the initialization will happen in the for loop. So what is that? I have next condition. I have to check. 1 is less than 4. Yes, it is true. Again, it will go inside. It will print. What is that I have? I have high. So it will print high. So after that, again, I value will be incremented. So I value was 1. Now again, it is getting incremented to 2. So fine. Incrementing is done. So then again, it will check the condition. 2 is less than or equal to 4. Yes, it is less than 4. The condition is true. Again, it will execute the statement. So what is that? It will print high. So it will print high. Then after that, the increment will happen. So increment is getting, what is the increment value? What is the I value right now? I value is 3. It was 2 before. So after the increment, it will become 3. So again, it will check the condition. 3 is less than 4. Yes, it is true. Again, it will execute this. So I will be printed. So what happens? I is printed now. What is that? High is printed now. So fine. After this, increment. So what is the I value? So I value was 3. I value was 3. So now it is 4. Alright. So again, it will check the condition. So what is my condition? Please observe here. I is less than or equal to 4. Is it true? Yes, it is true. It is equal to 4. So fine. Condition true. So you print high. Again. So it will print high. Then after that, I value will be incremented. Right now, I value is 5. Again, it will check the condition. So 5 is less than or equal to 4. Condition fails. So the looping will stop there. Looping will stop there. So this is how the for loop is working. This is how the for loop is working. So you need to understand this now. Most of you will not be knowing, sir, when do we use for loop? When do we use this while loop and do while? So please understand this. When you know how many number of times that I need to execute, when you know how many number of times that you need to execute, at that time, you will be using the for loop. You'll be using the for loop. When you have the condition, until you satisfy the condition, you will be executing the set of statements. At that time, you will be using while and do while. You'll be using while and do while. I repeat this statement, so please understand this. When you know how many number of times that you know that you have to execute some set of statements, you will be using for, and you will be using while loop when you have the condition. When you have the condition, until you satisfy some condition, so you will be executing some set of statements. But what is the speciality that while and do while you have? When it comes to do while, even though if you don't satisfy the condition, minimum one time the statements what you have inside this, that will be executed. But this in while, it is not possible. So this is what we will call it as a entry controlled loop. This is what we will call it as a entry control loop, and this is what we call it as a exit control loop. This is what we call it as a exit control loop. Please observe this. This I will call it as a entry control loop because the condition is tested in the beginning. If this condition is satisfied, if the condition is true, only then I will be executing all the statements, whatever I have inside. If the condition fails here, I will not be executing this at all. But here it is not like that. I don't have any conditions here. So for that, at least one time I will execute all this, even the condition fails here. So that is what you need to remember. That is what you need to remember when it comes to the comparison of while and do while. So please make a note of it. This is going to be very, very important. All right. So hope you understood this. So let me go back to the for loop that I had. Okay. You will be, not for loop, sorry, flow chart. So please understand the entry control loop. Now hope you will be able to tell me what is entry control loop. So while loop is what I will call it as an entry control loop. So please understand, my dear students. So first it will take the entry. So it will test the condition. If the condition is false, it will skip everything and it will start executing outside the loop. If the condition is true, it will start executing the body of the loop. Okay. So again, after executing the body of the loop, please understand it will go to the entry again. It will check the condition once again. Okay. Until the condition fails, so it will keep on executing the same thing. All right. So that is what you need to remember. Same thing here. Observe here. So what is that I have? So first it will take the entry. Okay. Then it will go inside the body of the loop. You need to observe this flowchart. Here it is testing the condition, but here it is not like that. So once it is executing the body of the loop for one time, then it will test the condition. If the condition fails, so please understand. First, I don't have the condition here as I told you. So first directly it is coming to the body of the loop and then it is testing the condition. So that's what you need to remember. So guys, this is what we call it as a exit control loop. So fine. So we understood all these things. All right. So this is what you need to remember for the day. All right. So I have the next one, additional features of for loop. All right, by this I have come to an end of this session. I have discussed what is while loop, what is do while, and what is for loop. So in the coming session, I will also discuss what is nested for loop. Okay, what is nested for loop, what is jump statements, what is continue, all those important topics I will be discussing in my next session. So until then, please keep waiting for me. If you have learned something, don't forget to click on the like button. If you do that, I'll be very happy. Thank you very much, guys. See you. Bye-bye.